Emma Bull. I work for Film Education as an education advisor, and it's great to be invited here to the House of Commons today to see the great work that Laverne is doing and to see the wonderful film that the students at Duncan Primary have put together. It's a really, really interesting way of approaching an issue with the possibility of lots of people seeing it and getting involved with that issue.
I think what they're trying to do is absolutely brilliant. I really get that how their approach to tackling issues is really great. It's not what hasn't been thought of before or not presented like that before, and I think they really hit home the issues which face children and how that in how that impacts on adults.
I think it went really well. I think the children, for them, it's a fantastic place to say you've even visited, let alone actually come and be part of something really important. For me, Laverne, her inspiration and what she does she's just fantastic. She's a very good friend of mine anyway, and I think for all of us, she gives us all a desire to go out and do something in our own community and in our own backyard, really.
I think it's doing some very good work. I mean, I'm just particularly aware of the 3 films, particularly the one we just saw, and I think the work that they're trying to do, using young people to ask questions and answer questions for young people and raise the issues that concern young people, I think is very good. It's an excellent idea.
Yeah, I think film's a really powerful medium. And I think involving young people makes it really refreshing, makes it really pertinent, and makes it very watchable.
Actually, as we grow up in life, we are faced with challenges, and we cannot do this all alone by ourselves. This is why MCN Limited is out to give young adults the voice to actually let people know what their challenges are, and we give them the opportunity through media production to actually display or tell the world what the challenges are and how to overcome these challenges. So today's press conference is a huge success, and I give it to Laverne, I give it to members of the board, I give it to members of the marketing team, I give it to the Cumberland School, I give it to Colby, Jeremy, I give it to everyone.
Welcome our friends from Chicken Shed, who are going to sort of set the scene for us in terms of what the issue is that we're here to talk about and see the film about, which is Home Alone. It's a topic that every parent has to address at some point. I've had to address it 3 times so far. I've only got 1 more child to go. But I'm really looking forward to seeing and hearing what Chicken Shed I've got to say to us. Over to you.
Good afternoon, we're from Chicken Shed, that's what he said. Firstly, I'd like to thank Media Community Network Limited for inviting us here today. And also I'd like to thank the wonderful children from Duncan Primary School for making the wonderful props. But may I just say that this is the first time we've been able to run it with the props. So a big surprise for everyone. Enjoy. Home Alone.
A dad and a mum. And they had 2 children, one aged 6 and one aged 1. Now, younger darling and older darling, as they were called, did everything they could to get mum and dad's attention for themselves. Daddy. And then suddenly, one day, out of the blue,
darling, I'm leaving you forever.
Oh, please don't!
I'm sorry. My bags are packed. I'm off.
Oh, why?
Because I can't stand on 2 small children. They get on my nerves. I like children when they're older, quieter, and can just be quiet and pay rent.
Well, I suppose you had better get lost, and I will be a single parent. Mum did not know what to do. I don't know what to do. But finally, she went.
Oh, I'm off. Now, the babysitter will be here soon. Older darling, take care of younger darling. He's only wee. And younger darling, you need to do everything older darling says. Goodbye.
So off Mum went into a romantic sunset.
Ooh, that's nice.
To get her big hair done. Meanwhile, the very late babysitter, who was also a bit of an Ofsted freak, yes, they do exist, was phoning Mum on, yes, you've guessed it, her phone.
Hello, Mrs. Big Hair. I'm afraid I can't babysit tonight as I am in breach of the Ofsted guidelines. These guidelines specifically state that if I babysit more than 14 times a year for more than 2 hours a day, I am just a teeny bit illegal. If I do your job, Mrs. Big Hair, it will be the 15th time I babysit, and your date is going to last 2 hours and 1 minute. Just enough time to grab a KFC bargain bucket. So I can't come. Terribly sorry.
But Mum didn't hear the call because she had left her phone at home. She had left her phone home alone. And she'd also left her children on their own. So her children were on their own with the phone at home alone.
Get on with it! I am the other child, so I am in charge. 11 years of age and responsible for your health and safety.
Okay, but if I give you this Twix, this one, yeah, and a slightly chewed Whipple bar, will you let me do whatever I want?
Absolutely, give those certainly. I'll put on my iPods and you can do whatever you like. Within government health and safety guidelines, mind.
Alright, shut up. Shut up! Right, let's see, what dangerous things can I do? Shall I touch the boiling hot teapot? Dun, dun, dun! Shall I ride my skateboard over the hot stove? Dun, dun, dun! With a pair of scissors in my pocket? Dun, dun, dun! Or shall I quite simply microwave my head? Dun, dun, dun!
Decisions. Whilst younger darling was waiting to decide on what dangerous thing to do, he said to himself,
while I'm deciding on what dangerous things to do, I think I'll just have a little nibble on this grape.
But what nobody told younger darling was that the most common food that children choke on at home is the grape!
Help me!
You interrupt the girls now in full flies!
Sound of the underground! Help! Passerby! Help me! I'm choking on this grape!
Oh no, I can see a red-faced, asthma-ridden 6-year-old child. I will cross the road.
Help everybody! I'm choking on the grape!
But nobody answered, and things began to get more serious. If this 6-year-old doesn't get help soon, well, he won't see 7, let's put it that way. So, first aid. What are you supposed to do in the event of a choking child? Speak.
How?
Okay, anything else?
Ask him to cough it up.
Can you try and cough it up? Alright, well, I've got my own first aid ideas. I think you get that arm like that, and you pull it like a lever like that. No? What if you just do that? No! Maybe you have to break dance around a bit. No? Maybe you just chop their knee, and maybe that'll press it out. Move it up, no? Bit of the Macarena. No? Still choking?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't know what to do, but thankfully for the purposes of this story, 2 policemen turned up. Absolutely.
Hello. We are here to arrest somebody. There is a boy here choking on a grape, and we are in to restore law and order.
Help! I'm still choking on this grape, you know!
All in good time, Sonny. Now, who is guilty of this crime? Is it the mom?
Oh!
For going out and getting her big hair on?
Show me some dough!
Is it the older brother? For neglecting his younger sibling? Is it the dad? For leaving home?
Strong and macho.
Or is it the younger child for choking without due care and attention?
You're innocent!
Or is it the passerby for just passing by.
Stranger bewildered!
So, who do you think innocent? Can I have a show of hands for the mum? Who do you think the mum did it? No, we've got a few. What about the older brother for letting it show? Is the older brother guilty? The younger child for choking without due care and attention? What about the passerby? They just passed by.
No, stop, everyone, stop. None of the aforementioned are guilty. The guilty one is, drum roll please.
Great! And so, the grape was given a suspended sentence, after which it was released because it was acting very fine. And the morals of the story: don't be a late babysitter. Don't leave an 11-year-old in charge of a 6-year-old, and never underestimate the power of a single grape to cause you harm and make you whine. Thank you.
Don't have nightmares, and please do sleep well.
The end. Thank you.
A couple of years ago, the Safeguarding Board asked me if I would look into, with my particular group who work with me on the Safeguarding Board, children being left unattended, which seemed like a simple enough thing to do until we tried to do it. It was very hard indeed. So we started with our own school with what we call circle times, where our learning mentor went and talked to different groups of children, different classes, to get some sort of feedback from them. We also then took the message to our school's council, and we discussed it as a group. We discussed with some colleagues who were able to voice it in their own school, in their own safeguard, in their own circle times in both secondary and primary schools. And we also then voiced it with a group of parents as well. Our parents meet with us every Friday morning, and on a number of times through the years, the last 2 years, we've asked their opinions, their impressions, seen where we are. We gathered lots and lots of information. And about 2 years ago, I was approached by Laverne from MCNL with a view to try and help us make a film about a particularly pertinent issue for us, and we thought this would be the ideal one. Then, of course, we had to wait for funding for MCNL. We had to wait for funding because we couldn't tie everything together. We couldn't bring it together into some way of saying, well, this is what we've done, and rather than just delivering a lot of rather dry statistics, actually putting something together that was meaningful, that people would look at and would generate some sort of discussion, both at the level of children, parents in the local area. So eventually, even though we sort of put it a bit on the back burner and collected all our information, Laverne turned up in this September and said, got the money, now we're going to make a film. So everything moved really fast. And we were able to tie all those points of view together. By tying them together, what we've done is that MCNL have allowed us to deliver a message to the three most important groups. Children's awareness in our own school and in the local area, in our local Islington schools, is beginning to be raised about the issues about being left unattended. We're absolutely clear that some parents have a very challenging time to look after their children and at the same time have a little bit of freedom for themselves. We're a school with a very high number of children who are coming in from abroad. 75% of English as a second language. Over 56 different countries are represented in school. It's a very vibrant, exciting community. But many of those parents are alone. Alone both in their own flat, alone in the United Kingdom, sometimes alone even with their own community. And we have tried to sit down with parents and try to work out some sort of processes so they can support each other.
I've got a professional and a personal interest in the goals and aspirations of MCNL. Quite simply because as an educator who understands the power of communication at all levels and the enormous benefits it can bring to those engaged in dialogue around complex issues. In my previous role as a head teacher and the one I currently hold as an education consultant, I've travelled the country and observed teachers and pupils and significant others in this process. And I think what struck me most is, compared to when I was a child, and it wasn't that long ago, it's no longer a one-sided conversation between the pupil and the teacher. With the power bases often imbalanced and one-sided, we have matured. The dialogue in most classrooms across the country now strongly reflects concepts of equality, justice, tolerance, and peace.
I was interviewed by some of the students from Duncan, and it was very interesting being interviewed by them about the issue of children being left home alone. And actually, children interviewing adults is much tougher than adults interviewing adults, because adults tend to have over much sympathy for the person on the other side of the camera, so to speak, whereas the children ask the absolutely direct question and they expect an absolutely direct answer. With all teachers not immediately in agreement to that. I thought when you all came here to Parliament, you started off ever so shy and ever so nervous, and then after about 10 minutes, all that was cast aside. Then we had a lovely talk, and then we went down to the park. And now I asked you about Emily Pankhurst. Do you remember it? And what was the answer? Yes?
She was a sophomore big, and she wanted women. She set up protests so women could vote.
Brilliant, because when we were doing the that was fantastic, because when we were doing the interview, I said they wanted to go and have their sandwich lunch, and I said we'll go to the park down the road. And I told them there was a statue there to Emily Pankhurst, and I refused to tell them anything about Emily Pankhurst. I said, you've got to find out and tell me about it when you come back, and you have. Well done, brilliant.
In preparing for this event, I had to think about the reasons why 3 years ago I wanted to set up this charity, why I've been so committed to the goal of empowering young people through film ever since. Why do I feel that it's so important that young people have a voice? Some reasons stem from my childhood and watching my parents being treated badly for being a mixed-race couple and never ever reaching their full potential. I was clearly influenced by working at Seifert Sedley, courageous law firm campaigning for people's rights in the 80s. I had an amazing insightful education through Goldsmiths University as a mature student, and the revelation I felt reading about great ideologies such as Noam Chomsky, Pierre Bourdieu, not forgetting James Bowlby. Those concepts have become embedded in my work and the way I use film. This took me to New York, and I learned how the Educational Video Centre taught documentary film with huge success to marginalised, difficult children. The format was easy to pass on to others, which, coupled with my love of comedy, made for a perfect formula. A film strategy for all young people who had something they wanted to say, and being able to have fun along the way was great. Whilst all these reasons are valid, it was more than that. I felt that I was beginning to feel afraid of enjoying my city. I could not bear to turn a blind eye to situations I encountered, not every day, but occasionally enough to make me feel sad. When I saw in a young person's eyes the inability to manage their life, whether it was on a public bus or in a breakfast meeting, it was clear that somehow insecure individuals had been neglected, not just by a parent or carer, but by society. Not only did they not have a voice, but they had little to positively contribute to society. I soon felt their hopelessness, having been fed the horror stories about some young people and the awfulness of what they were going to do to each other. I wanted to take an active role in improving their lives so that they might be inspired to go on to do great or ordinary things, but at the very least reduce the harm to themselves and to others.
Laverne and I have put together an MCM project campaign titled Promoting University Life in Secondary Schools, which is primarily aimed at the London boroughs. This seeks to inspire young people to engage with education. This involves pupils making films about further and higher education based on interviews with graduates, teachers and parents. This film will allow pupils to gain an insight into the university college experience and to learn how others overcame any obstacles encountered along the way.
suggestions do you have? What does that really mean? How would that pan out for a family?
I think practical support would be, if you do not have a network of friends and colleagues who live nearby, and many parents do not, then you would need some facilitator, and that would have to be something like a local school or a local children's centre, who will be willing to set up those links and networks for you. Then you'd obviously have to have the trust in order to allow someone to look after your child. So you'd have to build up friendship links alongside it. We had quite a big program where we bring families together on a regular basis, 2 or 3 days a week, lots of facilitators on board, and people get to know each other. It's then up to them if they are trustworthy in their own sense. It's very hard to leave your child with anyone unless you're really sure. So you need to build a relationship up with them first. But to offer those relationships would be something a school can do, what the government could do. I don't think they would do anything. So you need local people at a local level trying to support people the best they can.
Out of the 3 projects that you've done, which one do you think is hardest?
I think the hardest one was the first one, because I had an idea of how I wanted the project to come together, and I had to kind of sell the idea to the school and hope that it worked out, and gladly it did. And call me mummy.